Well, good morning. I think it's still morning, everybody. I'm Susan Freeman. My background, I'm a lawyer. I'm part of Mishcon and Reya, and PropTech has become an enormous part of what we do. Unsurprisingly, we just launched an incubator for tech companies to help us actually develop new ways of streamlining things. We've got a great panel here this morning. I think it's such an interesting time to be talking about PropTech in relation to commercial property. We've just seen the launch of the new Fund, $212 million to invest in commercial PropTech. So an interesting time, things are changing. So we've got a great panel, we've got a good balance, we've got two incumbents and we've got two disruptors. So starting from this end, we have Magnus from Datscha, we have Matt from Securities, we have Andy from Realla, and Alex from JLL. And I think, just so that you understand, because there's an interesting titles mixed in here, I think I'm going to ask everybody just to give a very short introduction on exactly who they are and what they do, and then we'll get into the discussion. So, Magnus, you can start.
Yes, so my name is Magnus Svantegard. I'm head of product at Datscha. Datscha is a Swedish PropTech company, been around for 12 years. We launched in England a year ago, so we're the ultimate source for ownership data when it comes to commercial buildings and properties. We have data on every single property in England and Wales. You can see the ultimate owner, you can also see market information from CBRE, flooding data, and a lot of other data sets. So it's been a tremendous start here in the UK. We have 100 paying companies on our list as of today, 97% satisfaction and less than 2% no churn. I'm also a PropTech investor and evangelist as a partner in Stronghold Invest, which owns Datscha and all the firms.
Morning, Reya. I'm Matt from Securities. Some of you will have know what we do. We're the largest PropCo in the UK. We've got two main portfolios. One is London, which is predominantly led by offices and commercial space, and the second is retail, focused on large shopping centres and malls around the UK. My role is commercial director in the London portfolio, so I head up the transactional element in terms of leasing and sales, but then increasingly looking at our future product and design development, so hence the role of technology, both in terms of how it can change what we do and how we operate as a business, but also how our buildings and our product and customer experience can change and how that can be incorporated.
Hi everyone, I'm Andy Miles. I'm a co-founder at Realla. Realla started about 3 years ago. There are two sides to our business. We offer a portal for commercial real estate, and also behind this a series of marketing and tracking tools for running deals. Our marketing and tracking tools are used by hundreds of agents in the UK. Clients range from JLL to Regis, and we are growing that side of the business nicely. Back in June last year, we launched our portal. It's a commercial-only portal. It features about 90,000 sales and lettings at any one time. So it's about 3 times as many listings as any other commercial portal in the UK. That side of the business is growing really nicely, and of course the purpose of that is to reinforce the marketing tools by generating extra leads for our users.
Hi, morning everyone. So Alex, Edds at JLL. I'm guessing everyone knows who JLL are, so I'm not going to explain what they do. But my role there is pretty varied and pretty well encompassing, but I guess to simplify it, I want to wear 2 hats. One is internal, so how are we as a huge organisation innovating ourselves and what solutions are out there, what technologies are out there that can help us do that better. So predominantly back office functionality. And then the other half would be very much, I guess, more in tune with what we're here today to talk about is the PropTech that's out there, that's disrupting the market, that's influencing our clients, our supply chain, and what do we as a service provider to clients need to understand, set strategy, and also engage with.
So, after a very slow start, we heard the property industry described as archaic at least once this morning. I think we're seeing a changing attitude to tech in commercial real estate. And I know we've already done a poll this morning, and we know that there are far more agents and property companies here than there were last year, and certainly the year before. But I thought it might be a good idea to start off by looking at who's driving the change. Is it actually going to be the disruptors and the startups, or is change coming from within the commercial real estate industry? And Alex,
it's actually a really good question, because I think try and answer this in a sort of coherent way. I think there's a lot of noise out there, there's a lot of activity, and there's a lot of, I guess, PropTech companies, and I do that because the economy and everything and anything at the moment. I'm not leveraged to define it in a vertical, in a silo, but I think there's a lot that's out there that's talked about, and that's coming at us. I say us, obviously us, the service provider, or us, the industry. And I think coupled with new technologies, new computing power, etc., there's huge amounts of opportunity and innovation happening in that space, and it's sort of flying at us, and everyone's sort of going, okay, we need to do this, we need to do that, and so there's an element of confusion. But I would say there's a lot of R&D, there's a lot of innovation happening, which is great. But in terms of actually, I guess, what makes it through, ultimately what will land with the industry, is not going to be all that. And we heard earlier, I think, about sort of failure rates, etc. So I think there's going to be a sort of period of sort of, I guess, difficulty or challenges that will come over the next few years. I think within organisations and within the industry as a whole, I mean, again, we heard it earlier, the customer, which is often perhaps the forgotten person in the property industry, but ultimately the tenant. And we're seeing a huge amount of innovation in that space as well, in terms of workspace and the challenge that's bringing up to the industry as it is. So for me, I think being sort of the people in the middle, I guess, the advisory capacity within the industry, we have to be listening to all sides. And one that doesn't get talked about much well, I think, is the ultimate investor. I don't necessarily mean the land sector or properties or even the fund managers, I mean their investors, the investment houses, the asset management houses, who typically outside of real estate will manage their equity stock shares in a very fluid, transparent and data-driven way. That doesn't happen in property. So I think they're starting to finally look at, okay, how can we manage our real estate assets in a similar way that we do our equity stocks and shares, and therefore putting pressure on the institutional funds, etc., to look at, okay, what tools can you give me, what information can you give me in real time? I don't want quarterly reports anymore, stats information. I want real-time dashboards telling me, how my assets are performing. So I think that's probably going to come, but I think, tenants and the use of buildings is driving this end user experience, and the supply chain is hitting us very hard with all sorts of new innovations. I think the industry is really just starting to get to grips with, okay, what is useful out there and what are we going to use to effectively give it a service.
So a little more complex than just sort of startups. So, Andy, any thoughts on who's driving change?
Yeah, look, I think the innovation starts with the startups, and Raj talked about PropTech 2.0, the second wave. Probably started in America back in 2010, and it started in the UK maybe 2 or 3 years ago. So the innovation comes from the startups, and it's fueled by venture capital money. So there's a lot of VC money chasing PropTech right now. I won't go into that because I think most people in the room know that. Because VC dollars chasing PropTech have roughly doubled every year for the last 6 years. So there's momentum behind it. But I think what's also happening, and really started to happen in the last 2 to 3 years, which is very healthy, is the incumbent businesses have started to embrace it and really take control of it as well. And the fact that Realla and Datscha are on the panel with us today is testament to their embracing PropTech, and also how things have changed from a couple of years ago, whereas, as you pointed out, Susan, there weren't very many property people at these kind of events. And you can see the likes of Realla, the CBRE, building innovation teams. On those teams are going both tech people with expertise in seeing disruption in other industries like television, and property people as well. They have real mandates from the CEO to drive change, and they're starting to partner with PropTech firms, invest in PropTech firms, incubate PropTech firms, build their own PropTech. And so they're starting to embrace and drive the change. So I think there's The innovation is more balanced in the way it's being driven now. And I see that, but certainly from my point of view, is ultimately a very, very good thing, because ultimately the incumbents are our customers, so we want the incumbents to get on board.
So, Matt, from where you sit at Securities, are you seeing sort of changing attitude to what's going on in tech?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's a position where you just can't ignore it. It is a driving force, as I said, for both how your own business operates, but also what your customers are demanding and the customer service they want from us as a provider. And I think, to answer the question, the drive, I think it has to be a collaborative effort. You often get the innovation and the entrepreneurial spirit from the startups and the ideas, but we have to make sure that it's answering the right questions. We all have the challenges, and so it has to be a collaborative effort. It has to be working together to create an ecosystem which can take it all forward. I don't think the responsibility rests with either party. I think if you look at other industries like fintech, you're seeing the same thing. From our experience, looking at how people locate their offices where they want to be, large corporates want to be next to small companies because they want to access that innovation, that creativity, and likewise the startups want access to big companies to get exposed to that experience and potential client base. So I think it has to be very much a close-knit relationship, and almost I don't see necessarily PropTech as a disruptor as such. I'm not sure it's disrupting our industry. I think it's just helping evolve our industry. And we have to work together to improve it for us and for employing our customers, and that extends to having to investors as well.
And Magnus, for the Swedish viewpoint, I know you have been in the PropTech industry for quite a lot longer than many people think it's actually existed, and it's into its fourth or fifth wave now.
Well, many people consider it being the fourth wave. There's a good blog post by Jim Young from Mishcon, a PropTech conference that has been around in the US for 20 years. And it for sure is not a new thing, it was not invented with the hashtag. That taken aside, I mean, nowadays it's so much easier to get traction from the end users, PropTech companies, since they see that digitalization is putting in pressure on so many different industries, and also the property industry, which of course is extremely large and many different positions. I think the driving force for this change has to be collaborative, there's no question about it. Sometimes some PropTech company comes up with some great ideas, not always, but it's when the industry as a whole take it into account that shift will change. And I think Alex has a good point. There are many driving forces. Could be the tenant, for sure, there's a lot of change, but especially in the investor side, there's a lot of pressure to change and going more digital due to the fact that the regulation and the very end, LTDs, the investors, are demanding that. There's a very good case, if you have opportunity to look into it, by Fidelity. Matthew Richardson is head of property research at Fidelity Funds. And they've done a tremendous job over the last 4 years to being extremely data-driven. So at any time, any of the large investors in the Fidelity funds can go online and download their entire data set. That's all the rent roll, that's all the building data, and there can have their own quotes doing the analysis of the entire data set. And I think that's driving much more of a change for large companies, because then they really have to change if the investors is putting that pressure. So there are a lot of different angles to why change is coming, but it's a long one. It's nothing. And there's a question here: is disruption the way to describe PropTech? And I don't see that. I mean, PropTech is just a slow innovation phase coming. Some years it speeds up, some years it slows down. Very few will be disrupted, very few. But it could be for sure.
Thank you. So it's quite a complex issue, but change is happening in a positive way. It seems to be the case now. The collaboration word came up a couple of times, and I think that's something that's worth looking at. We've got collaboration. Are there ways that we could be doing more to build bridges? I mean, obviously you have given us a really positive view of how change is happening, but we do hear about disruption, we do hear about alienation between the property companies and the new technology. It might be worth looking at how we could do more to build bridges. I don't know if anybody has got any particular views on that.
It's interesting that two guys have questions on that as well. What's our attitude to sharing data with those? What's the competitive budget one? Which is, there it is. That is a key, I think, challenge for the industry at the moment. As someone mentioned this morning from my friend around that being a key competitive advantage for particularly the agency world. So I think collaboration is absolutely key, and I think I guess I would say, from my perspective at JLL, and I guess also perhaps my generation, that perhaps the industry before was very much reliant on, this is our house, we've got the information, and therefore we provide the best service. I think with what digitalisation of data, and generally just the opening of everything and commercialisation of data, that realisation actually that is quickly changing for some. I think that what we're seeing in terms of new entrants in the market, particularly data-rich companies like BTS, who spoke earlier, is that ability to bring that data set together across all parties. So I think that for organisations who have traditionally based themselves on, we've got the information, therefore we will own this space, I don't think is necessarily the long-term future. It might be fine for the next 10, 15, 20 years in certain markets. But I think ultimately the only way that, and generally just the way that I think we are moving as a society, is that everybody wants access to all information at all times anywhere. So I think that's going to be the most challenging, decisions and the most challenging path for the incumbents and the new entrants over the next 5 years, is how do we collaborate to ultimately end up at a goal that's beneficial for both of us, but while not giving away anything that's going to deteriorate our current position. So for me, that's the biggest challenge that I think we face as an organisation, and I think also likewise for the suppliers coming in who are hungry for our data. And it's like, that's great, we can give it to you, but what's in it for us? Or are you just going to take that over and then see you later? So it's a challenge, but collaboration absolutely.
And is that an education issue, actually making sure people really understand, what's available?
I don't know if you should get these from us, but there's, again, generationally, right? I'm probably in the middle between millennials and not, but there's an acceptance, I think, from the younger generation that you have access to it and you want it and it's there and you don't really sort of accept the fact that you can't get it, whereas probably the generation before was very much, this is my data, I own it. And I think that challenge, and not to stereotype, but perhaps a lot of PropTech companies are full of millennials and full of younger generation who are really hungry to make that change, and perhaps there's the leadership within incumbents is perhaps the older generation, and therefore there is that sort of challenge, and sort of cultural challenge. I think if you just look at history, it's pretty obvious where that would go. But it's finding the ways through that. And I think that, there isn't a right answer, there isn't a wrong answer, but it's going to be a challenge.
Unless anybody's got any strong views on building bridges, maybe it's a good time to move on to data, because a few of the questions down here that are popping up is about, about data as a competitive advantage. And this one there about JLL's attitude to sharing data with partners. So should we move on to just talking about data? Because we have lots of big data, and I know Magnus, you've been quoted from teenage sex and data, and so I know it wasn't your quote, but it seems to be.
It's something like everyone talks about it, no one has done it, no one really knows anything about it, but everything, everyone claims doing it, so it's like teenage sex. I love big data, I love technology, there's no question about it, and you can do amazing stuff with big data and AI and stuff like that, but the biggest problem in the real estate industry, I would say, of meeting end customers for 20 years is that they don't even have the data, which means, when I say data, I mean structured data in a database. You run into so many companies, agents, property owners, investors. They have the data, but it's unstructured in different Excel spreadsheets and personal laptop scattered all over the place. And I think you talk about big data, and if that brings the end users to the table, I'm more than happy to talk about big data. The thing is to treat data in a much more structured way. Because big data by definition is that it's large amounts of data that you cannot use a traditional database software. And trust me, no one, well, 99% of all real estate companies can be stored in the SQL database. So by definition, no one really has big data. But it's so much to do in data, and that's a long journey for many, many companies to do. And I think there's a lot of pressure on that. For example, for agents. For many years, we could wait 2 to 3 days to return a tenant schedule to a client who's asking for it, or comps for investment sales. I think the speed nowadays is that the end customer, they call me in the morning and they expect to have that data set by the afternoon, which means that you can't call a junior person and then that person runs around in the basement for 3 days, stacking all different Excel spreadsheets together. So I think as a company, many companies need to be much quicker when it comes to data. So that's my point of view.
Thank you. There's a question down. Is data a competitive advantage for traditional property companies? I suppose it rather depends on the quality of the data. I mean, I don't know, Matt, whether you want to say anything about how you use your data at Securities. How you use it.
Well, maybe we had the big data, I think Marcus has probably answered it. I'm sorry. I mean, we do have a lot of data in terms of we have the market intelligence coming in from all our advisors, and then we have our building data, how our buildings are being used, how they're being occupied, the occupational densities, energy use. So there's a huge amount of data sets, and I think we are in the relatively early stages of really understanding how we can then use that as a cycle to inform the next phase of design or the next operation of that building and how it can drive efficiency. But I think it's an exciting time. I think it's just going to get better and better. But crucially, it has to come back to it's improving the experience for people that are using these spaces or the people that are working with these spaces.
Can I just say something, which I think, sorry to... But, just that term, I think the term big data is something which gets thrown around a lot. One of the things I'd like to say, I think, is that, not to quote Gordon Bronsfeld, but there's the known knowns, and then there's the known unknowns, and there's the unknown unknowns, right? And the data that is being, I guess, pulled together from spreadsheets, etc., is from the old incumbents or from the old way of doing things, which is the data set that they relied on for 100 years to do business, and that's the known knowns, and that's now being structured. Then there's the sort of known unknowns. Okay, what do we know we don't know about the building, and what should we try and pull together? And then there is a universe of stuff that's out there that is now being plugged in, sensors, putting on sensors, etc., that is just not yet part of the decision making of the property industry. And that, to me, is where you differentiate between revolutionary innovation and what's termed, I think, evolutionary innovation. Whereas sort of incrementally improving what you're doing, which is, I think, what a lot of technology is helping us do. What for me is really interesting is, okay, what does new technology and people that are coming from outside the sector come to the table? I don't know if it's Placemake or Chunk, I don't know if it's here, but that's an organisation, that's a company where I've really cottoned onto. Why are you making decisions on property valuations or properties on this basis when you can make it on this basis and we can manage that data for you? And I think that, to me, is where the interesting bit, come back to your point about innovation and who's innovating. There's people innovating to improve what they're doing, and then there's people looking outside the box and going, okay, we could completely revolutionise the way this industry is operating. And I think that, to me, is maybe longer term, but I think quite a key point around data, because at the moment we're kind of, this is the data we're looking at, we're not looking over that.
I think the data point is interesting because it goes back to collaboration, which we were talking about just a few minutes ago. As Alex points out, the incumbent companies have a lot of the data, but also the new startups have a lot of the ability to analyse that data and do exciting things with it. So if you can find a way to collaborate together, and clearly that requires the incumbents to take a leap of faith that one day their data won't be used against them. If you can find a way to collaborate together, surely that's the best way to get the best outcome for both sides.
So the question that seems to have risen to the top here is, will technology phase out agents? And obviously there are lots of practical applications from big data, automated leases, automated valuations. Would anybody like to kick us off on the future for the agent?
I won't write Alex off just yet, but the short answer is absolutely not. I don't think it will. I think as a kind of intimated at the start, I think technology has evolved to enhance what we're all doing, and things like the BTS that we've adopted and many of our agents have adopted is just improving the process. And from Magnus's point about speed and responsiveness, it's arming us to do our jobs better. And I think certain aspects of the agent's role will be able to become automated in terms of generating the schedules, pulling that data together. But there will always be a role for a trusted advisor, and the contracts and the deals that we negotiate are so nuanced. You're dealing with something tangible that I think you will always need that human relationship and that advice. And I think the role of the agent may evolve and it become less on the process and more on where can they really add value. And I think it will actually make them more effective, so it'll free them up to do that real value add advice rather than just dealing with the broking side.
I think, sorry to say, but I think that question comes up a lot. The reason that the word agents is there and not as value as transaction agent, whatever, is because the focus at the moment, and has been in PropTech, is on the lease and transaction. Right? That's where a lot of the focus and effort has gone into. So that's the reason why agents are sort of first up. But actually, you could hold up any of the professions within the real estate sector, as you could with a number of other jobs in a whole host of other sectors that have been disrupted. So I think my response to that is every job, pretty much, I think McKinsey quoted like 40-45% of all jobs out there are at risk to some form of automation over the next 10 to 20 years. So actually, it's not just the agents, it's everybody in the industry. Your role is going to change. It's those that are willing to accept that and run that, or those that don't. That's ultimately the question. It's more of a personal question than a professional question.
Any other comments?
Well, I think the guys have answered that question very well. The only other point to add is that if you are an agent, it's about understanding how the nature of your job is changing and also which the high value parts are. And I think many of the leading large agencies are there, perhaps some of the others aren't. Generating competitive tension, managing complex processes, managing multiple deals with difficult parties, those are very high value add parts. Some of the admin parts, gathering comparables, reporting to landlords, marketing, those can either be sped up through technology or massively enhanced by technology. So it's about separating out your job and then applying the right technology to the bits where it can really help.
Very much share the comments so far. I don't believe in so much in the disruptive thing that agents will just disappear in 2 years. That's never going to happen. There probably will be fewer, especially on the leasing side, where the market for co-working spaces takes a bigger market. It's supposed to be like 20 to 30% in London nowadays. So that takes away maybe part of the leasing agent's work. On the investment sales, I believe there will be dramatic changes in the way they conduct their business. Because I think more and more investors will have